Good afternoon and welcome back to another video. Today I am making orchid and sweet teas banana blueberry pecan crumble muffins. So I had two very ripe bananas. Normally I freeze them to put in my smoothies, but thought, you know what? Might as well make some banana bread or something with them. So I am going to be making these banana and blueberry muffins with the pecan crumble. Now this recipe is vegan, but I'm not making it vegan because I'm gonna substitute Greek yogurt for oil in the recipe, just like I do with my chocolate chip banana bread. So without further ado, let's get started. I know these past couple weeks have been crazy and full of devastation and just pain. I posted on Instagram kind of explaining not my silence, but my refrain from posting. Just, I wanted to create space for the important voices to be heard. However, I love that there's been so much open communication from all parties, and it's opening so many people's eyes, including mine, of realizing how inherent racism is. And you know, I thought I was doing my part by being as kind as I can to everybody. But if you look at my social media and if you look at my life online, and just, honestly, just looking at me, you wouldn't think, someone of a different background wouldn't think that they're welcome. I'm open to diversity and I'm open to different cultures, which I love and I believe should be cherished. So that's why this whole season has been so good, to open everybody's eyes and help us to see where we've been blind and ignorant and just stuck in our own little bubble of whatever race that might be. So for that reason, I want to transform my life and my online presence and my business, because I have a baking business on the side of just, YouTube, which is just for fun. I want everything to promote diversity and really show how much other cultures and other races have to offer. So from now on, I am pledging to promote more intercultural recipes. Obviously, blueberry muffins aren't, promoting intercultural recipes, but I want to support other businesswomen in their endeavors to just succeed in life. So you can hold me accountable. Please hold me accountable where I can, if I start getting back into the mindset of just like, oh, what is comfortable? What am I used to? And not spreading awareness and not celebrating other diversity or other cultures, recipes, and just traditions. So hold me accountable. Sorry for the rant. I'm sure you've heard so much recently from other I'm not a blogger, but other people and business owners and everything about what they're doing now, and I think that's amazing. So I just want to add to the voices, and I want to, just spread love and understanding and joy to everybody. So yeah, okay. Sorry for the rant. Here we go. First, what we're gonna do is mash your banana. It's 2 bananas. So I have mashed my bananas. And then she tells us to add our almond milk, or in this case, I'm using unsweetened coconut milk. Add a 1/3 cup of that, and then your 4th cup of oil, or in this case, I'm using Greek yogurt. You mix this together. I like to combine my dry ingredients separately first before adding them to my wet ingredients, because I just need to be totally positive that all my baking soda and salt and baking powder and all of those little things are gonna be evenly distributed before I add it to my wet ingredients. In her recipe, she has everything, just combines it all into one bowl. And if you hate doing dishes, which I do hate doing dishes, but my paranoia is greater than my distaste for dishes, then 100% go right ahead, and in this case, put them in one bowl. I wouldn't recommend doing that for every recipe, but she says it's totally fine for this one, so go ahead and do it if you want. So it is, oh my gosh, Is that gonna, the AC's blowing and it probably got really loud in here, so sorry. So in this bowl, I've combined my almond milk, my bananas, and my Greek yogurt, which would be the olive oil or the coconut oil. So I'm also gonna add now my vanilla extract, which is just a teaspoon of vanilla extract. Next, I have both of my flours. In this recipe, she calls for whole wheat pastry flour. I don't have whole wheat pastry flour, so I just use whole wheat flour. Just know that's gonna make the muffins denser because pastry flour is super light. And you know, obviously if you think like a croissant or puff, you know, any type of puff pastry, they're super light and airy and flaky. Also has to do with the butter, but the flour is designed to be extremely light. So my muffins, because I'm not using pastry flour, will be slightly denser. Not a big deal, just keep that in mind that her muffins are probably so much better when you use pastry flour. But yeah, sorry. Okay, I'm gonna move this away from the AC. Okay, so it is 1 cup of whole wheat pastry flour and then a half cup of all-purpose flour. So I have those both combined here. And then I'm going to add, I put my 1 teaspoon of baking soda, a 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and a teaspoon of cinnamon, all in this little ditty right here. So combining that to the flour. Oh, I also forgot to add my coconut sugar. So it is 1/3 cup of coconut sugar into the wet ingredients. Let's just do that real quick. So these muffins are gonna be super good for breakfast, for a snack, for anything, and they are healthy. You can make them vegan. I didn't though. All right, so back to my dry ingredients. I'm gonna combine all this. Okay, got that combined. Now what I'm gonna do though, so they're blueberry muffins. She said you can use fresh or frozen. I use frozen. Tip though, what she recommends doing is instead of just dumping the frozen blueberries in the batter, take some flour and swirl it around in the blueberries so that it soaks up some of the moisture.
So the muffins aren't too, because the moisture from the blueberries is going to make the muffins not turn out super well and not bake properly.
So take some flour, just swirl it around in there to coat them. And then you can combine everything and just fold this together, which folding I think I touched on before is just basically going in a circular motion around and then pulling down the center. So around and pull down the center. And this just makes sure that you can gently fold in everything without like over mixing the flour so the gluten doesn't get all built up. Turn the bowl to make sure you're, mixing everything. So you just go around and pull down the center. Folding is also great when you're not using leavening agents. So in this recipe, there's the baking powder and baking soda. But in some recipes, like in my brownie recipe that I use, there are no leavening agents to make the batter rise. So what you do is you incorporate a bunch of air and just beat a bunch of air into that with a hand mixer or an electric mixer. And also when you're making like whipped cream or whipped cream frosting and you're adding some melted chocolate into your whipped cream already, you fold it in so it doesn't deflate all the air, because if you just beat it again, all the air is gonna be gone. So folding is a super great trick to know for practically any baking you're gonna do. And do it just until it's incorporated. And then put it in your muffin tins. As long as they didn't blow away, because your AC is crazy. The important thing to remember is to keep everything the same size so that they all bake evenly. That's the case with cookies, muffins obviously. Anything that your scones, you always, if it's separate places of batter or dough, you always want to make sure that they're all the same size so that they all bake evenly. Okay, so I've got 2 pans of these. You can do obviously the larger pans that have the 12 in it. So because I did the miniature ones, my bake time is gonna be shorter, so I'm just gonna keep an eye on that. Now for the crumble, it is 1 cup of pecans, toasted and finely chopped, and then 1/2 cup of brown sugar. No, wait. Yeah, a 1/2 cup of brown sugar, a 1/2 cup of all-purpose flour, a teaspoon of cinnamon, and then 1/4 cup of partially melted butter or vegan butter. So I used vegan butter. I already have everything all put together in this bowl, other than the butter. So I'm mixing this up first. Okay, now 1/4 cup of partially melted butter. I went a little crazy and fully melted it. So if it totally messes everything up, I take the blame. Okay, mixing this in. So I'm just gonna put this mixture or the crumble on top of my muffins. My oven has been preheated to 350 degrees, and you're supposed to bake them. They're supposed to bake for 20 to 25 minutes, but I did the small mini muffins, so I'm gonna check the time probably around like 10 minutes just to look at it, make sure that they're not burnt or overdone. Hopefully they'll be just right at 10 minutes, but I'm literally pulling that out of thin air. Just, they're smaller than the recipe calls for, so I'm cutting the time in half. I will let you know afterwards how long it actually took, just in case you decide to do the mini muffins instead of the bigger ones.